Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey guys, let's learn. Most controversial flags in Europe explained in 11 minutes.
Four black
Let's go Europe X. Do a subscribe, like.
Moors head. The Sardinian flag. Four black Moors heads on a white field. But which version? That's where the controversy begins. The current official flag since 1999 shows the heads facing toward the hoist with white headbands across their foreheads. But many Sardinian independence activists prefer the older historical version, heads facing away from the hoist with white bands positioned as blindfolds over their eyes. It's not about flag design, it's about identity. Independence groups like Sardinia Libera argue the historical version better represents Sardinia's struggle against foreign domination. They wave the older flag at rallies calling for a referendum on Italian membership, claiming the blindfold symbolized Sardinia's centuries of oppression. Rome disagrees.
Oh, I'm thinking of Corsica. Jesus Christ, I'm stupid. I'm like, wait, isn't that... Okay.
The blindfold symbolized Sardinia's centuries of oppression. Rome disagrees. Italian officials see the historical flag preference as separatist provocation. Some local councils have restricted its display on public buildings. The controversy reveals a deeper question. Is Sardinia an Italian region that happens to be an island, or an island nation that happens to be occupied by Italy? Every time someone chooses which version to fly, they're answering that question. And in modern Europe, that answer is becoming less symbolic and more political every year.
This is an issue that is pretty alien to Americans, like, say, when it comes to states. Except maybe Texas, because Texas was, for a very short time, its own country when it seceded from Mexico, only to be taken over by America. But every other state was either an original 13 colony, like the state I live in, Rhode Island, or it was a state that was created throughout the time where America expanded westwards. So having so many places within your country that have much older roots is just not something that is thought about. Maybe I should speak for myself. But it's very interesting seeing it over in Europe.
The Estelada, the Catalan independence flag. 4 red stripes on yellow. That's the official Catalan flag. But add a blue triangle with a white star? That's the Estelada. And in Spain, that star burns like a fuse. During the 2017 independence referendum, Spanish police ripped Esteladas from balconies, fined people for hanging them, arrested activists for carrying them. Madrid's crackdown backfired spectacularly. Today, the flag drapes across Barcelona apartments, covers protest banners, gets worn as clothing. The Spanish government calls it sedition. Catalans call it Tuesday. Because when your flag is illegal, every day becomes a referendum. The Flemish flag.
So this has nothing to do with the historicity of it, but I think this flag is beautiful. But I don't want to get in between Spanish politics and issues, so this one reminds me of the Cuban flag. Obviously, it's got to be older.
Because when your flag is illegal, every day becomes a referendum. The Flemish flag, a yellow field with a black lion. It's the official flag of Flanders, and the symbol of a region that might just break Belgium apart. Belgium is a country of two halves, Dutch-speaking Flanders and French-speaking Wallonia. But Flanders is richer, more populous, and increasingly tired of subsidizing the South. Flemish independence parties regularly win elections. The flag flies over government buildings, appears at separatist rallies, and shows up at protests against Belgian unity. It's perfectly legal, but perfectly divisive, because when half a country wants out, the other half starts looking like dead weight. The former Macedonian flag, a golden 16-pointed sun on a red field. It looked ancient, royal, powerful, and it nearly destroyed a country before it could begin. When Macedonia declared independence in 1991, they chose the Virginia sun, a symbol found in the tomb of Philip II, Alexander the Great's father. To Macedonians, it represented their connection to ancient glory. To Greece, it was theft. Athens erupted. The Virginia sun was Hellenic heritage, not Slavic. Using it meant territorial claims on Greek Macedonia.
Does North Macedonia, they speak a Slavic language?
Heritage,
I'm
not
assuming
Slavic.
so.
Using it meant territorial claims on Greek Macedonia. Parliament debates turned into shouting matches. Diplomats walked out of meetings. Greece imposed a crushing economic blockade. No trade, no fuel, no recognition. The new republic was strangled at birth. By 1995, Macedonia surrendered. The flag was changed to a generic yellow sun with 8 rays. The Virginia sun disappeared from official use.
Flag.
Today, you'll still see the old flag at nationalist rallies, cultural events, and protests against the name change to North Macedonia. It's not banned, but it's radioactive, because sometimes choosing the wrong ancient symbol can make you a lot of very modern enemies. The Crimean Tatar flag, light blue with a golden tamga in the upper left corner. It's the flag of the Crimean Tatars, a people who've been ethnically cleansed twice in 80 years. Stalin deported them to Central Asia in 1944. They returned after the Soviet collapse. Then Russia annexed Crimea in 2014 and banned their flag again. Today, displaying it in Russian-occupied Crimea can get you arrested for extremism. The flag survives only in exile in Kiev and in the hearts of a people who refuse to disappear. Twice stolen, twice survived, still waving. The Republika Srpska flag, red, blue, and white horizontal stripes. It's essentially the Serbian flag without the...
Excuse me, sorry. It reminded me of the Russian flag, but is the Russian flag in a different order of these colors?
Coat of arms. And that's exactly the point. It's the official flag of Republika Srpska, one of 2 main entities within Bosnia and Herzegovina. But here's the catch. Many Bosniaks and Croats see it as a symbol of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and the war crimes of the 1990s. The flag is legal within the entity, but waving it in Sarajevo or Mostar? That's asking for trouble. Republika Srpska leaders regularly threaten secession. The flag appears at independence rallies, commemorations of wartime leaders, and protests against the central Bosnian government. It's not banned.
You know what? I brought this up in a lot of other videos. It's a very depressing fact that I seem to see is that take America, for instance, where you just destroyed, either with disease or through intentional destruction, the native population that used to live in the modern day borders of America. And the horrific consequence of that fact leading to more stability is terrifying, because countries committing genocides in the past leads to more structure in the present. And that's a very uncomfortable truth that I'm starting to realize, is that the more, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like the more lenient you are to a native population, the more trouble you're going to inevitably have in the future. I don't have a point that I'm trying to make. I guess my point is that a horrific thing, the most horrific thing you can do, which is just complete annihilation of a population, leads to more stability in the conquering population. And I'm curious what you guys think about that. It's horrifying, but I see it again and again.
But it's not welcome everywhere, because in the Balkans, every flag carries the weight of graves. The Kurdish flag, red, white, and green horizontal stripes with a yellow sun in the center. It's the flag of Kurdistan, a nation that exists everywhere and nowhere. Kurds are the largest ethnic group without a state. They live in Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran, but none of those countries want Kurdish independence. So the flag is banned in Turkey, restricted in Iran, and tolerated only in Iraqi Kurdistan. In Europe, Kurdish communities wave it at protests, cultural events.
This is what I mean, is that, let's say that the Ottomans, or very early Turkey, annihilated this group, okay? Genocided, annihilated this group, and they don't exist. Nowadays, you'd have a more stable Turkey that doesn't have the separatist movement, but all morality points to not doing that, but it does provide a conflict, you know? And so it's like a blatant truth that is so evil, but is also true, which is, it's kind of horrifying. I hope you guys know what I'm trying to what I'm trying to explain here.
Iraqi Kurdistan. In Europe, Kurdish communities wave it at protests, cultural events, and solidarity rallies. It's legal in London, Paris, and Berlin, but displaying it can get you arrested in Ankara or Tehran. The flag represents 40 million people, but 0 recognized countries, because some dreams are too big for borders. The Prussian flag, a black eagle on a white field, typically with black bars at the top and bottom. It's the flag of Prussia, a German state that ceased to exist in 1947 but refuses to stay dead.
But there were also like I would say that they aren't dead. They were kind of the grandfather. They were kind of the father of Germany. You know, it was the Prussians fighting the Austrians, and eventually fighting France in the Franco-Prussian War, and then creating Germany. And so, saying that Prussia is dead, I mean, they're only dead because they became Germany. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm saying a lot of controversial things, but just know that I realize I can be wrong, so let me know.
After World War II, Prussia was dissolved. East Prussia became part of Russia, Kaliningrad, and Poland. But in Germany, neo-Prussian groups still wave the flag, demanding recognition of Prussian culture and identity. It's not banned, but it makes people nervous. Because in Germany, nostalgia for lost territories can quickly turn into something darker. The Silesian flag, blue and yellow horizontal stripes. It's the flag of Silesia, a region split between Poland, Czech Republic, and Germany, but belonging fully to none. Silesian identity survived partition, war, and communist rule. Today, Silesian activists in Poland demand recognition as a separate ethnicity, their own language rights, and greater autonomy. The flag appears at cultural events, political rallies, and protests against Warsaw's centralization policies. It's legal but controversial. The Northern Cyprus flag, a white field with red horizontal stripes at top and bottom, and a red crescent and star in the center. It looks almost identical to the Turkish flag, just rearranged, and that's no coincidence. Northern Cyprus declared independence in 1983 after Turkey's military intervention in 1974, but only Turkey recognizes it as a state. The rest of the world sees it as occupied territory. The flag flies over government buildings in Nicosia, appears at independence celebrations, and shows up at protests against reunification. It's legal in Northern Cyprus, illegal in the south. Northern Cyprus passports aren't recognized by the EU. Airlines can't fly direct to Erkin Airport. The Sakhalin flag, a blue field with a gold horizontal stripe, an 8-pointed sun star, and a crescent moon. It's the flag of the...
This is another example of the awkward...
Can't fly direct to...
It's like...
Erkin Airport. 8-pointed sun star and a crescent moon. It's the flag of the Sakalis, ethnic Hungarians living in Romania who want autonomy that Bucharest refuses to give. The Sakalis have lived in Transylvania for over 1,000 years. They speak Hungarian, follow Hungarian culture, but
basically, I'm saying, like, for a country like the USA or like Russia with East, Asian part of Russia and a lot of, I'm sure, European parts of Russia, is like the only reason that a lot of countries don't have these issues and then point at them for being bad is that you killed or subjugated all of the people that, if they were alive today, would be separatist movements. And so that it's an awkward thing that in today's reality of the world and geopolitics, that countries that didn't slaughter everyone are being pointed at as the ones. It just sends a bad message saying that, like, okay, you should have killed everyone or subjugated them well enough. And unfortunately, you didn't. And so now you're being seen as the guy. I'm not saying I'm pro anything, any side in any of these things, but it's something I always think about.
Carry Romanian passports, and they want their own autonomous region within Romania. Bucharest's answer? Absolute no. When local councils try to display the flag, Romanian authorities intervene. When Sekli activists wave it at protests, they face legal challenges. The flag isn't technically banned, but it's not welcome either, because in Romania, this isn't just a regional symbol. It's a reminder that Transylvania...
Hey, it's the head of the, what I call like the manatee that the Austro-Hungarian Empire looked like a lot, was that it looked like a big manatee to me, with like this being its tail and up here. And it's interesting how that same that same outline is where this separatist region is.
Pennsylvania's Hungarian population hasn't disappeared, hasn't assimilated, and hasn't given up on self-governance. The flag flies in defiance. Romania pretends not to see it. The Chechen flag, green, white, and red horizontal stripes, simple colors, complicated history. After the Soviet Union collapsed, Chechnya declared independence. Moscow said no. 2 brutal wars followed. The flag was banned, the republic destroyed, and the independence movement crushed. Today, you'll see variations of the Chechen flag at diaspora gatherings, human rights protests, and memorial services. In Russia, it's illegal. In exile, it's sacred. Putin installed a puppet government, built a puppet capital. But he couldn't kill the idea. The flag is banned. The dream isn't. The Frisian flag, blue and white horizontal stripes with red water lily leaves. It's the official flag of Friesland, the Dutch province that doesn't quite feel Dutch. Frisian is an official language in the Netherlands, but it's closer to English than Dutch. The people have their own culture, traditions, and increasingly their own political demands. Frisian independence groups are tiny.
Closer to English than Dutch, man. That again just makes sense. Dutch always has sounded more. Not that Dutch has always sounded to me as more similar to English than other Germanic languages, and it sounds like you're hearing an English person, but they're slightly too far away that you can't make out what they're saying. And so that makes sense.
But persistent. The flag appears at cultural events, language rights protests, and calls for greater autonomy from Amsterdam. It's not banned, but it's not quite Dutch either. The Moravian flag, yellow and red horizontal bicolor flag with the Moravian coat of arms placed at the center. It's the flag of Moravia, a historical region that makes up 1/3 of the Czech Republic, but gets treated like a footnote.
Man, Czech Republic has been overlapped by a lot of these.
Moravia was once a great medieval kingdom. Then it became part of Bohemia, then Czechoslovakia, then the Czech Republic. But Moravians never forgot they were different. Today, Moravian autonomy movements demand recognition, their own parliament, and respect for regional identity. The flag appears at cultural events, political rallies, and protests against Prague's centralization. It's legal but largely ignored. The Breton Black Cross, black and white stripes with a field of ermine spots. It's the unofficial flag of Brittany and the symbol of a Celtic nation that France tried to erase. For centuries, Paris systematically erased Breton language, culture, identity. The flag survived as harmless folklore. Recently,
this is the awkward part. You didn't complete the systematic erasure, and now it's I hope I'm not coming across as saying like this is what should be done or whatever. Of course I'm not. I'm pointing out something I'm noticing is that it's like, well, you didn't wipe them out efficiently enough. You know, sorry.
Culture, identity.
Strange.
The flag survived as harmless folklore. Recently, something shifted. The Gwen Hadu became resistance against French centralization. Breton independence parties remain small, growing. The flag appears at cultural festivals, language protests, rallies against Paris-imposed policies. Because in a country built on one nation, indivisible, even celebrating difference can feel like treason. The flag flies quietly, but the message is clear. Brittany remembers what France forgot. I'll be making similar videos. Subscribe to see them.
It's a cool video, and I'm wondering what, because I'm from the USA, what the reaction would be if, say, Texas was trying to secede from the Union and were flying the flag of Texas and not showing the American flag. How would the USA? What would they do? And so it's more difficult, I think, for me to think about that. But if anything I said, guys, was, you know, controversial, then great. Let me know what you think down below. Would love to see it. Hope everyone's doing well. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. We'll keep on learning together. Bye, guys.